Have you ever heard the expression, like rats fleeing a sinking ship? It's one that comes from the belief that, on a ship, rats can kind of sense when it's really time to get out before things get worse. And it kind of looks like Blizzard developers can do the same. This time, it's a big one. It is Vice President of Blizzard Entertainment and Director of Overwatch, Jeff Kaplan. He has jumped ship after 19 years. It's hard to know where to start here. Jeff was one of their most valuable assets after he was headhunted from his world-first ever Quest guild. And in 6 years, he rose from WoW's Quest designer to being its game director, before then moving on to Project Titan, which of course after a long time ended up becoming Overwatch. Now, since Overwatch's launch, Jeff's been the public face. We all know that. But evidently, something wasn't doing it for him. So what made him leave? Well, sadly here, we've got absolutely zero official idea, but we can read in between the lines. First, we've got to set the stage at Blizzard Entertainment. Overwatch 2 has no release date, not even so much as of a hint, while, say, World of Warcraft is dangerously behind on its own content schedule. Warcraft 3 Reforged was so bad that they dissolved its team, and Diablo 4, after having many troubles in the past, is still years away. So with all that going on, it's kind of no wonder that a decorated leader would maybe end up wanting to get out. But there is more here. There's one project at Blizzard that does not look like a dumpster fire. Diablo 2 Resurrected. What is the secret sauce? Activision. Well, Activision veterans, Vicarious Visions. They're the studio working on it, and by all accounts, it's pretty much perfect. And it keeps on going too. Do you remember Activision studio Toys for Bob, who led the recent Crash and Spyro Revolution? Well, they've recently had a few job listings. Job listings that specifically ask for first-person shooter experience. Now that could be Call of Duty, but Liam Robertson, who appears to have a good glimpse into Activision, he has claimed that Toys for Bob has had, quote, most, if not all, of its staff moved on to Overwatch and Call of Duty. Well, with all of this and a veteran Activision producer becoming the VP of development at Blizzard, it's not insane to suggest that Activision is assuming direct control. I mean, Vicarious Visions are now, from what we understand, moving on to Diablo 4. That's a lot of big Blizzard stuff being done by Activision Studios. It is clear that the winds of change are blowing in Irvine, and Jeff is not the first person to jump ship, perhaps as a result. For the last, perhaps 3 years, Blizzard has seen a shocking amount of veterans either being pushed out or leaving for greener pastures. We had the cancellation of major projects in 2019, the news of Team 1 being shuttered last year, and since then they've continued to bleed. Omar Gonzalez, David Kim, and now Jeff Kaplan, all gone in the past few weeks. You do have to notice that a lot of big names are leaving. Those are, of course, only the names big enough to make the news. There are many rumblings that Blizzard's internal morale is rather abysmal, and that Activision wants to steer them in a more productive direction. Basically, it seems like Activision is unhappy with Blizzard's output. And actually, I think almost all of us would agree with Activision there. And it seems like Activision are sending their own in to solve these problems. This may seem unsettling to the Blizzard veterans who, perhaps leaving for much greener pastures and for the creative freedom promised with that. In a way, with every veteran that leaves Blizzard, we should probably be happier and happier, right? Almost everybody who's left the company in the last while has eventually shown up at, say, Dreamhaven or Frost Giant. And I'm willing to bet similar could happen for Jeff. Either that, or perhaps a Chris Mattson-like career sabbatical, because the dude's been pretty busy. I mean, just look at the staff pages for any of those ex-Blizzard studios. You have there many of the biggest names behind many of their beloved franchises. They're still working together. It's just no longer under the Blizzard name. We've got Frostgiant working on a real-time strategy, while Dreamhaven has 2 entire studios, mostly full of Blizzard veterans. So the future of Blizzard's legacy looks bright. It just might not have that much to do with Blizzard Entertainment, a subsidiary, a business unit of Activision-Blizzard. But then, where does this leave modern Blizzard's work? Well, to keep it related to Jeff's departure, what does it mean for Overwatch 2? Well, with Assistant Director Aaron Keller taking over, I actually do think it's still in good hands. For some context, Aaron has been at Blizzard for 18 years, and he has been on the Overwatch team since day one. He built many of the cities in World of Warcraft, like, say, Teldrassil and Ironforge back in the day. Now yes, the community might find it jarring to get an update video without Jeff, who had seemed to be the heart and the soul of Overwatch and its community, but that's not an absence that will ruin Overwatch, and people seem to like Aaron at BlizzConline. And those updates at BlizzConline were received well by the community. So while it is running possibly years behind what we would say is a reasonable schedule, it does seem to be on a good track quality-wise. I think the time frame is probably why Activision is seemingly stepping in to take the reins. And as much as Activision's name sounds like poison to our games, hang on, we have to be realistic. Blizzard has been making major mistakes for years. I mean, look at the cancellation of Diablo 3 Expansion 2. And the very first time we see Activision's direct influence on development, very direct even, we get the first promising thing Blizzard's done in ages. Diablo 2 Resurrected. Maybe, just maybe, what's going on here is that Activision are actually sending in some of their best devs to take control, and that might be a better future than perhaps letting Blizzard's leadership repeatedly squander opportunities again and again and again, like they absolutely have. I mean, the idea of Toys for Bob working in Overwatch 2, honestly, is more exciting to me than frightening. Anything to help that thing actually be released. And to tell you the truth, it is a lot more complicated than that. When Blizzard's original fall from grace started to happen just over a decade ago, all the fingers were being pointed at Activision's bean counters, demanding more and more out of Blizzard and stifling their ability to do what they did best, to create, and on their own schedule. It's seemingly by Activision's mandate that, costs were cut, support staff were fired, and then games were perhaps rushed out before they were done. In fact, Activision may be now trying to solve a problem that they created with their interference all those years ago. Being a fan of Blizzard Entertainment has been one hell of a roller coaster. It's far from over. At least in Dreamhaven, Frostgiant, Second Dinner, and others like Bonfire, there is now somewhat of a chance. But I do have a few closing thoughts for you to cap this video off. So the Jeff Kaplan situation and some speculation. There's a channel, Your Overwatch, they're one of the big ones in the Overwatch crowd, and, I watched their video, and they seem to do a bit of a wink-wink, nudge-nudge in their video, basically saying that they couldn't really talk about how the game could be different now without basically leaking private mails that they'd had with Jeff, right? So, and they also said that Jeff had a very clear vision of things and very much would fight for what he would believe in. Which does make you wonder, had Jeff just had a real rough time recently? So that's interesting. Now, that said, they did seem to think that Overwatch is moving in a good direction based on the BlizzConline stuff. So, it might not all be bad. Fans did like the Overwatch 2 of BlizzConline, so there is that. Now, there is another update as well on David Kim. I believe we talked about him in the live stream we do on our other channel, but David Kim was a major Blizzard staffer. He left. And of course, with Omar Gonzalez leaving and going to Dreamhaven, we assumed David would maybe go there, but no, he's actually joined Tencent America as a lead game designer. Now, what that actually would be, because he's located in LA now, would mean it's Lightspeed LA, which is one of, I believe, Tencent's 2 Western AAA studios that they've set up. Might only be one, but anyway, so that's what he's doing. And then the other thing that really comes to mind for me, it's those Activision, support studios getting more and more power, right? The Beanoxes, the Toys for Bob, the Vicarious Visions. Those are studios who kind of did their own thing, and then they ended up just doing a whole bunch of support work for Activision-Blizzard. A bunch of them were working on Destiny 2. It's kind of funny, actually. Destiny 2 going away, has that actually freed these devs up to work a lot more on other Activision-Blizzard things? I mean, on there, apparently, there's a Crash Bash-like game and a new Spyro game between Toys for Bob and Beanox. And then you look at Vicarious Visions. I mean, they're doing immense work, and they seem to have a big enough position on Diablo 4. And I can say this, look, and I know this is going to sound harsh and might upset a few people, but as a World of Warcraft YouTuber who has played that game for now a very large percentage of my time on Earth, honestly, if I heard that a Toys for Bob or a Beanox or Vicarious Visions started to work in World of Warcraft, I would actually be cheering. Because all that has happened over the last while is like my faith in the WoW team. It's like, it's generally, the trend line has been down. There have been little bits that went up, like with, some of the things they did in Shadowlands, but then they just keep on making, blunder after blunder after blunder, the same silly mistakes, and then they constantly seem to be very, very much behind schedule, right? And, it just does make me wonder, does years of seemingly squeaky clean development cycles and polished releases, is that something that's honed these support studios to the point where they just make real good shit, and they make it in a good timeline? Hard to say, but I'll tell you what, the future of Blizzard, and charting that, is I think more complex and interesting than it ever has been, because we are seeing Blizzard Entertainment, the old Blizzard, like, rot away and die, in a way, right? It is changing, it is different people, it's different DNA now. And we're seeing these Activision studios come in and seemingly do very, very, very positive work. And I think that's something a lot of us would not have expected, even just 1 or 2 years ago. So, to cap it off, I'm going to say that if you want to support content like this and a lot of the things we've got in the works, and you can check out the Patreon over there, you will get this month's tasty bundle of loot that does include the axe pin and a bunch of other stuff, like the daily briefing, which will land in your inbox, and soon in another place, where you'll be able to experience it, hopefully in a different way. You can get that for all your gaming news every day. So, that's it for me. Thank you for watching, have a great day, and I will see you next time.